Get me a man!
For 40 days, they froze, ready to be slaves because nobody wanted to die first. And honestly, that's us. We want breakthroughs, but we fear the fight. Then a shepherd boy stepped in, dropped the king's armor, grabbed one stone, and ended the giant. Watch this.
All giants are meant to be slain. In the valley of Elah, two armies stood facing each other. Weapons were sharpened, armor was polished, battle lines were drawn. But something was missing: courage. Because on the other side of the valley stood a giant, a monster of a man, a walking fortress. His name was Goliath. 9 feet of muscle and bronze, a voice like thunder, a warrior trained for blood. And every morning and every evening, he stepped forward like a storm that refused to pass. And he shouted, "Send me a man." Not an army, not 1,000 soldiers, just one. Because Goliath didn't only want to win the war, he wanted to win their minds. For 40 days, he challenged Israel, and Israel did nothing. Not because they had no soldiers, but because they had no one willing to be the first to die. They were ready to become slaves, ready to bow, ready to surrender their freedom. But nobody wanted to step out and risk the grave first. Everybody wanted deliverance, but nobody wanted the responsibility of being the sacrifice. And that is the tragedy of fear. It doesn't remove your strength, it only removes your willingness. And tell me, doesn't that sound like the world we live in today? Everybody wants change, but nobody wants to be the first to stand alone. Everybody wants to break generational curses, but nobody wants to be the first to fight them. Everybody wants a miracle, but nobody wants to be the first to walk into the valley. So Israel stayed quiet. 40 days of shame, 40 days of watching their future shrink, 40 days of hearing one loud voice talk like God was silent, until a boy arrived. Not a general, not a trained warrior, not a celebrity, just a shepherd boy carrying bread and cheese. His name was David. He came as a delivery boy, but heaven had sent him as an answer. David stepped into the camp and felt the atmosphere. He saw men twice his size, shaking like leaves. He heard the giant insulting the living God, and David's spirit caught fire. He said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" And the soldiers stared at him like he was crazy, because when fear becomes normal, faith looks illegal. They tried to silence him. They tried to explain the giant. They tried to remind him of the danger. But David wasn't impressed by height. David had seen lions. He had faced bears. He had fought battles in secret places where nobody clapped for him. So David was taken before King Saul. Saul looked at David and saw youth, smallness, inexperience. But David looked at Saul and saw something else, a king drowning in pressure. Saul said, "You can't fight him." David said, "Your servant kept sheep. When a lion came, I struck it. When a bear came, I struck it. And the God who delivered me then will deliver me now." And Saul agreed. But Saul did what many people do when they don't understand destiny. He tried to dress David in his own identity. Saul put his royal armor on David, a bronze helmet, a heavy chest plate, a sword hanging from his side. It looked powerful. It looked professional. It looked like success. but David could barely walk. And that moment was deeper than armor, because this wasn't just about battle gear. This was about life. This was about calling. This was about the trap that destroys so many destinies. Because sometimes we see another person's success and we assume their armor is the secret. So we copy their style, copy their voice, copy their hustle, copy their methods, copy their personality, copy their calling. But what people don't understand is this. Saul's armor was designed for Saul's battles. David's victory was not in Saul's armor. David's victory was in what God deposited inside him. And hear this clearly. What God placed in you cannot be replaced by what you borrowed from others. You can't wear another man's grace. You can't imitate another woman's anointing. You can't copy someone else's purpose and still expect to walk in your own destiny. Because when you wear what God never gave you, you may look ready, but you won't be able to move. And David realized that. So he took off the armor. He said, I cannot go with these. In other words, this is not me. And the moment David removed Saul's armor, he removed limitation. He removed comparison. He removed pressure. He removed performance. He stepped back into what God had prepared him to be, a shepherd, a fighter, a believer. He picked up his sling, not fancy, not trending, not impressive, but it was his. It was what he had practiced with. It was what his hands understood. And sometimes God will not give you a sword. He will give you something simple, something familiar, something you already have. Because the miracle isn't in the equipment. The miracle is in the obedience. David walked to the stream. He picked 5 smooth stones, not because he doubted God, but because he came ready. Because faith is not carelessness. Faith is preparation with confidence. Then David stepped into the valley, the same valley where grown men had been silent for 40 days. And Goliath saw him. The giant laughed. He looked at David like a joke, like a meme, like an easy kill. And he shouted, Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? Come here and I will feed your flesh to the birds. The Philistines cheered. Israel held their breath because they thought they were about to watch a child die. But David opened his mouth, and when David spoke, the atmosphere shifted. David said, You come to me with sword, with spear, and with javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God you have defied. And then David said something so bold, so explosive, so dangerous that hell itself must have panicked. He said, This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand. Not next week, not when I'm older, not when I have better tools. This day. And then he went even further. He said, I will strike you down. I will cut off your head, and the whole earth will know that there is a God in Israel. That wasn't a motivational quote. It's about God proving himself through me. And then David ran, not backward, forward, because faith doesn't freeze. Faith moves. The sling spun, the stone flew, and time slowed down as heaven watched a shepherd aim at a giant. One stone, one release, one moment, and then thud. The stone struck Goliath in the forehead, and the mountain of bronze collapsed like paper. The giant fell. The earth shook. Dust rose. Silence hit the valley. And suddenly, the impossible was lying face down. And Israel erupted, because the people who were ready to be slaves suddenly remembered who they were. not victims. They were the people of God, and the Philistines ran because the thing they trusted in just fell. And David stood there, small in size, but carrying a revelation the world still needs today. Giants don't fall because you have bigger muscles. Giants fall when you refuse to bow. Giants fall when you stop copying other people and start using what God put inside you. Because the same God who helped David is still alive, still fighting, still delivering. So if you have a giant, don't just stare at it, don't negotiate with it, don't surrender to it. Step into your valley, pick up your stones, remove what doesn't belong to you, and fight